So, for this deep dive, we're going to be doing something a little different.
Okay.
We're going to be embracing the holiday spirit.
All right.
And for one of our listeners, that means prepping for a family tradition,
Okay.
a Sissy movie marathon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're talking about that classic Austrian trilogy.
Right.
But we're going to go beyond just the basic plot points here.
Okay.
We actually have a German TV Guide article that details this year's air dates.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to use that as a springboard to unpack the history, the cultural impact, and maybe even some behind-the-scenes secrets of these iconic films.
Great.
To help prep our listener for this marathon.
Yeah, sounds fun.
I'm excited about this one. I love these movies.
Yeah, they're great.
So to help us with this deep dive, we have
I'm happy to be here.
an expert on all things Sissy.
Well, I don't know about all things, Sissy.
Well, you know a lot more than I do.
I can talk about them on many levels, from the history to the legacy of Romy Schneider,
Perfect.
who played the Empress.
That's exactly what we need.
It's great.
Our listener wants to be armed with as much Sissy trivia as they can get their hands on.
Right.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What does the TV Guide tell us?
Okay.
Well, first of all, that all 3 films are airing back-to-back
Oh, wow.
on Das Erste.
Uh-huh.
That's German public television across Christmas Day and Boxing Day.
Oh, it's like a 2-day...
Yeah.
A 2-day marathon?
Yeah, a big marathon.
Yeah.
So, and this is...
That's a lot of Sissy.
Yeah, this isn't just like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
It seems like this Sissy marathon has become like a yearly tradition in Germany.
It has. It's very much, like dinner for one on New Year's Eve.
Exactly.
It's a tradition.
Yeah, it really speaks to the enduring popularity of these films.
It does.
It's like cinematic comfort food for the holiday.
Readily.
Okay, so for our listener who might not be familiar with the Sissy trilogy,
Right.
can you give us a quick rundown of each film's plot?
Sure.
Just like the main course, no spoilers.
Okay, so we'll start with the first one, just titled Sissy.
Okay.
It introduces us to Elizabeth, a young duchess
Okay.
who falls head over heels for Emperor Franz Joseph.
All right.
And think sweeping Austrian landscapes, grand balls,
Oh my gosh.
and a whirlwind romance that culminates in a fairy tale wedding.
It sounds like the ultimate escape from holiday stress.
It is. What about the second film?
The second film is called Sissy, the Young Empress.
Okay.
And it picks up where the first one left off.
Okay.
So Sissy is now Empress of Austria,
Right.
but she quickly realizes that palace life
Yeah.
isn't all waltzes and fancy dresses.
Okay.
She struggles to adapt to the rigid court etiquette
Uh-oh.
and clashes with her formidable mother-in-law, Archduchess Sophie.
Oh, a clash of the titans.
It is.
Yeah, I can already sense some family drama brewing.
Eh.
Yes. So what does the third film bring to the table?
So the third film is called Sissy, Fateful Years of an Empress.
Okay.
And this one takes on a little bit more of a somber tone.
Okay.
So Sissy is facing personal challenges, including some health issues.
Okay.
And she has to grapple with the political complexities of the Austrian Empire.
Right.
So she embarks on travels for recovery, but she also faces these diplomatic tests that put her resilience to the test.
Okay, so we've got the fairy tale romance,
Yep.
the palace intrigue,
Yes.
and then a dose of real-world challenges.
Yeah.
But the article mentions something kind of intriguing.
Okay.
It says that the films are far removed from the true Sissy biography.
Right.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
So how much of what we see on screen is historical fact, and how much is artistic license?
That's a great question, and it's one that often comes up
Right.
when discussing historical dramas.
Yeah.
The Sissy films are known for their romanticized.
And somewhat idealized portrayal of Empress Elizabeth's life.
Okay.
So while they capture certain elements of her personality and experiences,
Right.
they also gloss over some of the more complex
Okay.
and challenging aspects of her life and the times in which she lived.
I'm already starting to see the layers here.
Yeah.
So it's more about capturing the spirit of Sissy's story rather than sticking to a strict historical retelling.
Exactly.
Okay.
The filmmakers took creative liberties to craft a compelling narrative, emphasizing the romance and the grandeur
Wow.
while downplaying some of the political turmoil and personal struggles
Okay.
that Empress Elizabeth actually faced.
So it's like they took history and added a sprinkle of Hollywood magic.
Yes, definitely.
Now, speaking of captivating audiences,
Right.
the article also dives into the career of Romy Schneider. the actress who became synonymous with the Sissy character.
Yeah.
It mentions that these films launched her to fame, but also led to some interesting challenges later in her career.
They did.
So Schneider became a star overnight thanks to the Sissy films.
She did.
But her success had a peculiar side effect.
Right.
She was so closely identified with the role that she was even nicknamed Shirley Temple Hoff.
Shirley Temple Hoff.
A blend of Shirley Temple, the American Child star, and Tempelhof, the airport in Berlin.
Oh, wow. I've never heard that before.
Shirley Tempelhof. It's quite a nickname.
Yeah.
It sounds like she was almost instantly typecast.
He does.
Even at such a young age.
Yeah.
And this typecasting proved to be a double-edged sword for her. It brought her fame and recognition.
Right.
But it also made it difficult for her to be seen as anything other than Sissy.
Right.
For many years.
Yeah.
So while these films were her ticket to stardom, they also became kind of a gilded cage.
Right.
You know, limiting the roles she was offered.
Yeah.
And the perception of her as a serious actress.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
So that's a great segue to our next point.
Okay.
The enduring cultural impact of the Sissy films. I mean, these films were released in the 1950s.
Right.
And here we are, decades later, still talking about them, still watching them.
So
what do you think is the secret to their enduring appeal?
I think it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
First, there's the historical romance element.
Okay.
These films offer a glimpse into a bygone era, a world of elegance, grandeur, and courtly intrigue.
Yes.
They allow audiences to escape into a fantasy world, if only for a few hours.
It's like stepping into a living fairy tale.
Exactly.
Who wouldn't want to trade their everyday worries for a world of ball gowns and palace intrigue, even if it's just for a little while?
Yeah.
And then there's the enduring appeal of Romy Schneider herself.
Yes.
Her performance as Sissy is captivating, and audiences have connected with her portrayal of this young woman navigating the complexities of love, duty, and personal growth.
Yes.
It's interesting that the article compares the film's box office success in 1955 to that of Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
Another historical romance that continues to resonate with audiences.
That's a really insightful observation.
Thanks.
Both films tap into a similar vein of storytelling, offering a blend of historical drama, romance, and escapism. It's no coincidence that both films achieved phenomenal success and continue to be revisited by generation after generation.
It makes you wonder, what is it about stories set in bygone eras that continues to fascinate us? Is it the allure of a simpler time?
Maybe.
The beauty of the costumes and settings?
Could be.
Or the timeless themes of love, loss, and triumph that resonate across generations?
It could be all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think it also has something to do with our desire to connect with history, to understand the lives and experiences of those who came before us.
Right.
Historical dramas, especially those with a romantic element, provide a window into the past, allowing us to experience history in a visceral and emotional way.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of the Sissy trilogy, the historical context, and the enduring appeal of these films. Now let's dig a little deeper into some of the nuances and complexities that might surprise our listener.
Okay.
They're about to embark on their family's annual Sissy marathon.
Right.
So let's give them some insider knowledge to impress their relatives with.
Great. I think a good place to start is with the historical accuracy, or rather the creative liberties taken in the films.
Okay.
While they provide a visually stunning and entertaining glimpse into the Habsburg court, it's important to remember that the real Empress Elizabeth's life was far more complex and nuanced than what's depicted on screen.
You've piqued my curiosity.
Okay.
What aspects of Sissy's life do you think the films might have glossed over? Okay.
For the sake of crafting a more romanticized narrative.
Well, one key difference lies in the portrayal of the political landscape.
Okay.
The films tend to focus on the personal dramas within the Habsburg family,
Right.
while downplaying the intense political pressures and conflicts of the time.
Okay.
Sissy was empress during a period of significant upheaval and change.
Yeah.
Facing challenges like the loss of her first child,
Oh, wow.
the Austro-Prussian War, and the rising tide of Hungarian nationalism that threatened the very fabric of the empire.
So it's fair to say that the films offer a somewhat sanitized version of history, focusing on the fairy tale aspects of Sissy's life.
Yeah.
While sidestepping the more turbulent political realities she had to navigate.
That's a fair assessment.
Okay.
The films prioritize the personal over the political.
Yeah.
Creating a world where romance and personal relationships take center stage.
Right.
While this makes for a captivating story.
It doesn't fully represent the complexities of Sissy's role as empress.
Right.
Or the historical context in which she lived.
It's almost like watching a beautifully crafted historical tapestry.
Yeah.
But knowing that some of the threads have been deliberately left out
Right.
to create a more aesthetically pleasing picture. It makes you wonder if the filmmakers intentionally chose to emphasize the romantic aspects of Sissy's life to appeal to a wider audience.
Yeah.
Or perhaps to create a sense of escapism during a time when post-war audiences were craving a bit of lighthearted entertainment.
Those are both valid points.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to consider the motivations behind creative choices.
Right.
Especially when it comes to historical dramas.
Yeah.
Filmmakers might felt that emphasizing the romance and the visual grandeur would resonate more strongly with audiences than delving into the nitty-gritty of political machinations.
Right.
After all, they were creating a cinematic experience, not a historical documentary.
It's a reminder that every historical drama, even one based on real events and figures, is ultimately a work of fiction, shaped by the perspectives and intentions of the creators.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's so important to engage with these films critically, to appreciate them for their artistic merits, while also recognizing that they offer a particular interpretation of history.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see the Sissy films in a whole new light now.
Yeah.
It's like we've peeled back the layers of romanticized storytelling to reveal a glimpse of the more complex historical reality beneath. This is going to make watching those films with my family even more interesting.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
You'll be able to appreciate the films on multiple levels as entertaining stories and as springboards for deeper conversations about history representation and the power of filmmaking to shape our understanding of the past.
Now, I can't let this conversation pass without circling back to Romy Schneider. We talked earlier about the challenges she faced in breaking free from the Sissy typecasting.
Yes.
I'm curious to hear more about how she managed to overcome that hurdle and establish herself as a versatile and respected actress.
It's quite a remarkable story, really.
Yeah.
Imagine achieving international fame at such a young age.
Right.
Only to find yourself pigeonholed into a specific type of role.
Yeah.
It would be easy to succumb to the pressure and simply ride the wave of Sissy fame.
Right.
But Schneider had greater ambitions. She craved artistic growth and recognition for her talent beyond the image that had brought her initial success.
It's like being given a beautiful gilded cage, but yearning for the freedom to spread your wings and explore a wider world.
Yes.
It must have taken incredible determination and resilience to break free from those expectations and forge her own path.
Absolutely.
So what did she do?
Well, Schneider made deliberate choices to distance herself from the Sissy image. She moved away from Austria, sought out challenging roles in international productions, and collaborated with renowned directors who recognized her potential beyond the typecasting. Her later films like The Swimming Pool and The Girl and the Commissioner showcase her incredible range and depth as an actress, proving that she was far more than just Sissy.
It's inspiring to see how she refused to be defined by a single role and fought to be recognized for her full artistic capabilities. It's a testament to her strength of character and her unwavering passion for her craft.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely adding those films you mentioned to my watch list.
You won't be disappointed.
Awesome.
They offer a fascinating glimpse into Schneider's evolution as an actress and showcase her remarkable talent in a whole new light. It's a testament to her legacy that she is remembered, not just for her iconic portrayal of Sissy, but also for the breadth and depth of her work in other films.
And speaking of legacies, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on why historical romances like the Sissy films continue to captivate audiences decades later. What is it about these stories set in bygone eras that continues to resonate with modern viewers?
I think it taps into a universal human fascination with the past. a desire to connect with history on a personal and emotional level. Historical romances offer a portal into different worlds, allowing us to escape the mundane realities of our own lives and immerse ourselves in stories filled with elegance, passion, and intrigue. There's a certain allure to the pomp and circumstance of bygone eras, the elaborate costumes, grand settings, and the societal rituals that seem so different from our own.
It's like taking a virtual vacation to a different time and place, experiencing the sights, sounds, and even the social dynamics of a world long gone. And perhaps there's also a sense of nostalgia at play, a longing for a perceived simpler time, even if that perception is more romanticized than historically accurate.
That's a great point. Nostalgia definitely plays a role in the appeal of historical romances. These stories allow us to escape into worlds where chivalry, courtly love, and grand gestures of romance are the norm. It's a form of escapism that offers a temporary reprieve from the complexities and anxieties of modern life.
And let's not forget the power of love stories, which are often at the heart of historical romances. Love is a timeless theme that transcends cultural boundaries and historical periods. We're drawn to stories that explore the complexities of human relationships, the joys and sorrows, the triumphs and heartbreaks that come with loving and being loved.
Absolutely.
Love stories, especially those set against the backdrop of historical events, have a way of amplifying the emotional stakes and creating a sense of heightened drama. We're invested not only in the romantic journey of the characters, but also in how their relationships are shaped by the forces of history. It's like watching a love story unfold against a grand tapestry of historical events, where personal destinies are intertwined with the fate of nations. And speaking of personal destinies, this brings us back to our listener, who's about to embark on their Sissy movie marathon. They've now got a wealth of information to impress their family with.
They do?
They can talk about the historical inaccuracies, Romy Schneider's remarkable career beyond Sissy, and the enduring appeal of historical romances.
They'll be the reigning champion of Sissy trivia for sure.
Exactly.
And they can also engage in some thoughtful discussions about the film's themes. The creative choices made by the filmmakers. And the ways in which these stories reflect our own fascination with history and romance.
It's like we've given them a secret decoder ring.
To unlock a whole new level of appreciation for the Sissy trilogy.
Absolutely.
They can enjoy the films on multiple levels. As entertaining stories, as visual spectacles, and as springboards for deeper conversations about history representation. And the power of storytelling.
That's great.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I wanted to pose a question to both you and our listener. Knowing what we now know about the historical inaccuracies and the romanticized portrayal of Sissy's life, does that diminish the enjoyment of these films at all?
That's a good question.
Or does it perhaps add another layer of intrigue?
Personally, I think it enhances the viewing experience. Having that extra layer of knowledge allows you to appreciate the films on multiple levels. You can still be swept away by the romance and the grandeur. But you're also aware of the creative choices that shaped the narrative.
It's like being in on the secret.
Exactly.
You can appreciate the artistry of the films.
While also understanding that they're offering a particular interpretation of history. It's similar to visiting a historical site that's been partially restored. You can admire the beauty and craftsmanship of what's been preserved, while also acknowledging that it's not a completely accurate representation of the past.
That's a great analogy.
It reminds me of how some people feel about colorized versions of old black and white films. Some argue that it distorts the original artistic intent, while others see it as a way to make history more accessible and engaging for modern audiences. It's all about perspective, isn't it?
It is.
Ultimately, how we choose to engage with historical dramas is a personal choice. We can view them as pure entertainment, as historical documentaries, or as something in between. The key is to be aware of the choices made by the filmmakers and to approach these stories with a critical but open mind.
I agree.
Well said. So for our listener who's about to settle in for their Sissy marathon, we encourage you to embrace the multiple layers of these films. Enjoy the romance, the escapism, the visual splendor, but also keep in mind the historical context.
Right.
And the creative liberties that shape the narrative.
I think they'll enjoy it even more that way.
Yeah, me too.
And who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark a desire to learn more about the real Empress Elizabeth.
Yeah.
To delve into the history books and uncover the complexities of her life beyond the romanticized portrayal in the films.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
It is.
It can open up new avenues of exploration and spark a curiosity to learn more.
It's a reminder that even the most familiar stories often have hidden depths waiting to be discovered.
Well, on that note, we'll bid farewell to our listener.
Okay.
We hope you have a wonderful holiday season.
Yes.
Filled with good company, delicious food, and of course, a thoroughly enjoyable Sissy movie marathon.
Sounds great.
And from all of us here at The Deep Dive, we wish you all the best.
Happy holidays. I think they might even find themselves noticing details they hadn't picked up on before.
Oh, yeah.
Like subtle hints of the political tensions.
Okay.
Or glimpses of Sissy's inner struggles that the films only allude to.
It's going to be so interesting to watch them now.
I know.
With like this whole new perspective. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
Knowing what we now know about the historical inaccuracies and the kind of romanticized portrayal of Sissy's life, does that like diminish your enjoyment of these films at all?
That's a good question.
Or does it add another layer of intrigue?
I think for me it adds another layer.
Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate them on different levels now.
Right.
Like, you can still enjoy the story and the visuals and everything, but it's like I'm also kind of in on the secret.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I know that they've taken these liberties to tell the story.
Yeah.
But it's still enjoyable.
It's like being in on the joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can laugh along with it.
Right.
But you also understand the deeper meaning.
It reminds me of like visiting a historical site.
Okay.
That's been like partially restored.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, you can admire the beauty and the craftsmanship of what's been preserved.
Right.
But you also acknowledge that it's not like a completely accurate representation of the past.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Thanks.
It reminds me of how some people feel about like colorized versions of old black and white films.
Interesting.
You know, some argue that it like distorts the original artistic intent.
Yeah.
While others see it as a way to make history more accessible and engaging for modern audiences.
Yeah, I can see both sides.
It's all about perspective.
It is. Right.
Ultimately, how we choose to engage with these historical dramas is a personal choice.
It is.
We can view them as pure entertainment, as historical documentaries, or as something in between.
Absolutely.
The key is to be aware of the choices made by the filmmakers.
Yes.
And to approach these stories with a critical but open mind.
I agree.
So for our listener who's about to settle in for their Sissy marathon, we encourage you to embrace the multiple layers of these films.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy the romance, the escapism, the visual splendor.
Yeah.
But also keep in mind the historical context and the creative liberties that shape the narrative. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will spark a desire to learn more about the real Empress Elizabeth.
Totally.
To delve into the history books and uncover the complexities of her life beyond the romanticized portrayal in the films.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this.
It is.
It can open up new avenues of exploration.
For sure.
And spark a curiosity to learn more.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that even the most familiar stories often have hidden depths waiting to be discovered.
They do.
Well, on that note, we'll bid farewell to our listener.
Okay.
We hope you have a wonderful holiday season, good company, delicious food, and of course a thoroughly enjoyable Sissy movie marathon.
Sounds great. Happy holidays.